Hello, everyone. Good morning. Thursday, May 28th. Oh my goodness, I can't believe we're almost done with May. So, Miss Henderson and Miss Fates here. Here's your instructional video for the day. We're continuing on with our discussions with integers and rational numbers on the number line. Today's focus is going to be working with a new term that you might not be familiar with called absolute value. Okay? So what is absolute value? Well, absolute value is how far a number is away from zero, okay? And when we find distances, so when we're talking about how far something is away from zero, we would never say something has a negative distance. So when we're answering a question with absolute value, we're always going to want to make sure that we give a positive answer, okay? And I'll give you a ton of examples where you'll see that happen. Something I want you to think about, you might be asking yourself, well, why does it always have to be positive? Okay, so many of you, if you don't have one, have seen a Fitbit or an Apple Watch, or there's Garmin versions. There's tons of different versions of step trackers, okay? So when I wear my step tracker and I walk forward 5 steps, my step tracker says, okay, you've done 5 steps for the day, all right? Now, if I walk backwards 5 steps, it's not going to take steps away from my total count, okay? So, for example, in this picture right here, it says that this person has done 6,889 steps for the day, okay? If this person walked backwards, it's not going to then say, oh, now they've only done 6,884 steps for the day. It's not going to subtract those, okay? So when we think about distance, we're thinking about how far something is, but we want to think of it as in positive values, okay? Only positive. So that's going to come into play when we talk a little bit more about absolute value. So here's an awesome slide. I know I always tell you when it's a good time to take a screenshot and save something in your notes, and this would be a prime opportunity of helping you understand absolute value. So as I said, absolute value is a number's distance from the point to zero, okay? The way that we recognize absolute value in math is we use these brackets right here, okay? So whenever you see this around an integer or rational number, you want to know that that is telling you, that's your clue that you're finding the absolute value. So rather than writing out what is the distance of -4 from 0, you need to know that this is like a shortcut or a way to represent that. So if we're talking about how far is -4 away from 0, or what is -4's absolute value, we would find -4 in the number line, and we count 1, 2, 3, 4. It's a distance of 4. So that's why you see 4 units or a +4. Same thing here. We have these brackets to let us know that we're finding absolute value. So if we want to figure out the absolute value of 5, all that means is how far away is 5 from 0, okay? So here's 5. We start at 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's 5 motions, okay, or 5 steps, or a distance of 5 away from 0. And here is, again, that little key that's telling you distance is always positive or 0, okay? If they asked you to find what's the absolute value, I'll do it up here. What's the absolute value of 0? Well, that's just going to be 0, okay? So that's also something that you want to think about. All right, so moving on to today's IXL, you'll be happy to know that we are going back to just 2 strands. 6th grade, we're still in letter M, but you do need to go to a SMART score of 80, guys, okay? So we have M.4 and we have M.5. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to show you what these strands will entail so that you are comfortable moving forward with them today. All right, so let me log into my IXL. So sorry. Okay, so we're going to go to learning. Okay, we're going to go to skills. Actually, no, we're not, because it still didn't go to learning. Okay, 6th grade. And just so I don't make a mistake, We are doing M.4 and M.5. Okay. All right, so you're going to want to scroll all the way down. Obviously, it'll look different. I'm in the online version. You guys usually use the app, but. All right, so M.4, understanding absolute value. Okay. So what you'll do with these questions when they appear. All right. This number line shows a point at positive 4. What's its distance from 0? Well, it's 4 units away from 0, so its absolute value is 4. Okay? This number line shows a point at negative 10. What's the distance from 0? Well, it's 10 units away, so that means its absolute value is 10. Okay? This number line shows a point at negative 6. What's its distance from 0? It's 6 units away, so its absolute value is a positive 6. All right, so you're going to keep working on that. And then they're just going to kind of take away that distance piece and hope that you recognize that whenever you are seen or asked absolute value, you recognize that they're talking about distance from 0. So 45 is a distance of 45 from 0. Okay, 70 is a distance of 70 from 0. All right, jump a level. So this is what 81 will look like. Which number has a larger absolute value? Ooh, this is a great question. So in terms of larger absolute value of 2 is just 2. Absolute value of 4 is 4. 4 has the greater absolute value. And that makes sense because it's further away from 0. Okay, look at the points on the number line. Which one has a larger absolute value? So basically it's saying which one's further away from 0. That's going to be 10. All right, 40 versus 50. Which one's, this one says which has a smaller absolute value. So that means which one is closer to 0? That's going to be 40. Okay, so looking here, I love it. So now they've given you a negative value in comparison to a positive value, okay, or integer. So which number has a smaller absolute value? All right, well, negative 2 is a distance of 2 away from 0. 4 is a distance of 4, so the smaller is going to go to negative 2. All right, awesome. We have two negatives now. What number has a larger absolute value? So we have negative 25 and negative 20. But remember, the negatives really don't matter right now. 25 is 25, a distance of 25 away from 0. 20 is a distance of 20 away from 0. So which one's further from 0? Which one has a larger absolute value? That's going to be negative 25 because it's 25. Think of it in terms of steps. It's 25 steps away from 0. It's further. It has a larger distance. Okay, so I know I did go above 80 there. You do only have to stop at 80, but this is a good recommendation to kind of challenge yourself. If you look at this one, they have a positive and a negative, so it says which number has a larger absolute value, negative 50 or 40. So if we were comparing negative 50 to 40, we might think, 40 is larger, okay, because it's positive. But absolute value, we're talking about distance. So larger absolute value means which one is further away from 0. Negative 50 is 50 away from 0. 40 is only 40 away from 0. So the one with the larger absolute value is negative 50. All right, so you guys just have to go ahead and work on this strand. And then the next one that you had was M.5. So let me do a quick show of what that's going to look like. All right, so that is absolute value again. All right, so what's the absolute value of 1? They're not giving you the number line here. So how far away is 1 from 0? It's just 1. Okay, there's that sign. Okay, see the 2 brackets around the 9? That means what is the absolute value of 9? It's just a distance of 9 from 0. Absolute value of 7, just 7 away from 0. All right, let me jump you up a level. Absolute value of 48, same thing. Distance of 48 from 0. Negative 6 is still a distance of 6. All right, and then absolute value of 5, 5 away from 0. Absolute value of 45 is just 45 away from 0. So this one will be relatively easy and quick for you guys, okay? So make sure you get those 2 strands done. Again, M.4 and M.5, 6th grade, SMART score of 80. When you're done, your math is complete for the day. Have a wonderful day, and we will see you tomorrow.